Welcome to Spiritual Rebirth Tarot. I'm Madelyn, your tarot reader and energy healer. So great to have you here. Welcome, air signs, to your general reading for the week of January 3 through 9th. And as we begin this reading, please take what resonates in your intuition, in your heart, and leave what doesn't. Please subscribe to the channel and like and share the video and share it with others so that we can spread the message from the divine. So I wanted to let you guys know that on Facebook I have started doing some daily messages on my Spiritual Rebirth Tarot, so you can take a look at the link below and like that page and come on over. And I also am putting them on my Instagram page every day. And so I'm asking Gabriel specifically for messages, since he's the angel of messages. And then also I am doing my live moon reading on Wednesdays. So if you see this before then, please join the reading. And if it's after, it should be published on YouTube underneath my moon section. So I just would like to do a reading today for you, air signs. At the end, we'll pull a love card and an angel card. And in the extended, we'll look at some of the starseed cards for each one of the zodiac signs. So let us begin by setting our intention for the highest and best good and asking the divine for protection and guidance in the reading. Okay, so as we're going through the reading today, I will be putting Reiki energy into the deck to guide us in the direction of the cards that are the message for today. Okay, so the first card I want to pull is kind of an overall energy for the week. And we'll take a look. And of course, whenever you're watching this, it's the right time for you. This time is fluid. I think sometimes I find I'm still a little nervous talking on these things. Like, You'd think after a while, especially being a Gemini, and it loves public speaking. Okay. Oh, cool. I've been getting this one a lot. Summer. Bask in joy and light. So we have a beautiful honeybee. The honeybee is one of the most amazing creatures on our planet. It makes something so sweet and yummy, and yet at the same time it can protect itself from the dangers. So the honeybee has protection, and in this case it's saying, think of all those sweet, happy things of the summer. So we don't have to be like feeling like, oh, it's winter, it's such a drag. Maybe for some of you, winter is like the best time. You love the snow and the holidays and all those things. But for those that are longing for summer, if you're in the southern hemisphere, it is summer. So it could be pointing to now. But I feel like this one is especially pointing to the bee. So during this week, think of the energy of the bee going about doing his business, at the same time setting those boundaries that are necessary in life that are so important for us. So let's start with the Llewellyn Tarot, and we're going to ask the divine for guidance for the message for this coming week. So message Okay, so the first card is the Ten of Wands. So some of you may have been feeling like life has had a little bit more burdens lately. Could be that with the holiday seasons, and we're just finishing up New Year's, and so here in the States especially, there's a lot of holidays that have gone on. So many times we have the pressures of the holidays, like we have to get those presents together, we have to do all of those things, try to make it happen. And this card is saying, we're coming to the end of some of those struggles and stresses, and take a look at your life and see what can you set aside at this time to make it a little bit happier, more enjoyable. It's kind of interesting. I heard the other day someone say, we try to create a life that is funless, like has no fun. And I was thinking about that. I was like, there's so many ways that I get worried or stressed out, like overthink things. And I'm like, should I do this? Should I do that? And then I'm like, you know what? I just need to relax and have a little bit of fun. And so I think this card is pointing you toward, you've had a lot of stresses maybe recently. So many people that are putting out those vibes of stress, but also with the coronavirus of loss. And maybe you're trying to decide, should I or shouldn't I, take the vaccine and all of those things. And, only your heart can guide you in those kind of decisions and what's best for you. And, so as you ask God, what's best for you, he's there and he will help to alleviate some of those burdens. So let's see, what other messages do we have for this week? Ooh, so it's the Nine of Swords. So the Nine of Swords, is saying that for some of you, there's been a little bit more trouble sleeping and having a lot of thoughts running through your head, kind of keeping you from the sleep that you really need. And sleep is so important, and I think it's overrated. And so many times I don't get to bed as early as I should. I don't get as much sleep as I should. I know, like for my boys right now, since we aren't in school, it's real easy to stay up later. And since they can sleep in, because we do homeschool, I'm like, well, you know what? Let's just make sure they still get their 12 hours. And so they do. And it's probably not perfect because it all should be like, before a certain time. But, life isn't perfect. And I think that's the kind of the message of this is, sometimes we allow the stresses and strains of the day to walk into our night. Last night I had that problem where I was laying there, and for like an hour and a half I just kept thinking of all these things, and I wrote some of the things down. I even wrote a couple of messages to people or emails that I needed to write, try to get the stuff out of my head. And then in the end I had to listen to one of those meditations to get my head to calm down and let go. I couldn't meditate on my own. So I think that especially right now as the new year's coming, there's so many things happening in the world. We can feel the energies of everyone around us. And so sleep is such an important thing to find and to have in our life so we can have the happiness of the bee. So let's ask for more messages. Eight of Pentacles. All right, so for some of you this week, I feel that your work is going to be really important. Maybe you're going back to work after the holidays, and it just kind of like is pushing you into a new way of looking at it. And so many times we might think, oh, I don't like work because of somebody who's there, and I heard Abraham Hicks the other day was saying, if you're at a job and you love the job, but there's one person there that, at the water cooler is always complaining, you're like, oh, not again. as you raise your vibration and you live above those things, you just ride the high flying disc of happiness and joy, and just let that thing, they will fade out of your life. Either they won't talk to you because you're too happy, or they'll find another job, or, don't think that you have to leave something you really enjoy because there's someone else that wants to take away your happiness. So find that happiness in work, and enjoy it. And, the law of attraction says, the more you enjoy it, the more the things that kind of would irk you, you just don't notice anymore. All right, so let's see what other messages there are for us for this week. Two of Swords. This is the card that I personally have been getting a lot of in the last year. And there's so many times that the message that I get when I ask the divine, when I ask the angels, I say, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I go here? Should I go there? And then the answer is wait. And so many times, we don't know exactly where to go. And in this card, she's blindfolded, so she can't use her vision to decide which direction to go with the swords. Like, should she go to the right or should she go to the left? It's like, which direction should I go? And so you have to use your heart. And so it's the same, whether you're listening to tarot or whatever you're doing in life, really finding that intuition and listening to your heart is so important. So this is the second card we've gotten. That's the air signs, the Nine of Swords, and then this one. So as the thoughts come into your mind, and especially in this time, you can see the moon in there, the time of the full moon, we're going to have a lot more energies of emotions running through us with the Cancer full moon. We can actually, I'm kind of getting that feeling. It's like the two swords are the Cancer full moon, and the sun is in opposition in Capricorn. So it's the opposite side. Capricorn, if you're going to go by male and female, Capricorn is the man and Cancer is the woman. Capricorn gets up there and is the leader that goes up the mountain and has to do with career and success. And Cancer is, the home and love and kind of like that being held and taken care of. And so maybe in your heart, there's this divide that you're trying to decide, do I go toward the one or do I go toward the other? And hopefully in our lives, the two energy helps us to balance that. Okay, so let's see if there are any other messages for us. Messages for air signs. Five of Cups. When I was doing my messages for this week, for each of the daily messages to put on Facebook, this card came up 3 or 4 times, and it was interesting. The card deck I was using, and the angels, it said, everything happens for a reason. And then like the 3rd or 4th time I got it, I was like, okay, I'll just write that down. Everything happens for a reason. So, getting this card so many times happens for a reason. And to me, this card definitely has that pessimism energy, but it's a decision card. You can either, face one direction and allow yourself to have pessimism, or you can turn around and see that there are two two beautiful cups there, kind of like the Two of Cups, sitting there waiting for you. That beautiful energy of companionship and love and clarity. So and also, if you look a little further in this card, what do you know? But there's this big, beautiful castle, and you just have to go across the bridge. And so, while on the one hand, I certainly have spent some time in depression and sadness in my life. And you just think the only thing you can see are these cups that have fallen down. And it's like crying over spilled milk. It's like, not again. This happened again. This is, I've had too much. I can't do this anymore. But when you're feeling that way, sometimes, we can't ignore our feelings. We can't just like gloss them over. But on the other hand, if we wallow in that kind of feeling, more empty cups will come to us, and because of the law of attraction, and the other two cups will get knocked over. And so instead, kind of bringing in that beautiful energy of, well, there is something here, and finding that one thought that's slightly better than the thought that you just had, and beginning up that ladder little by little, slowly moving over that bridge to that beautiful castle where there's probably a lot more than just 2 cups of wine. There's a whole bunch of wine. What's that room called that has wine in? Yeah, so probably a whole, I want to say gallery, but that's not where you keep wine. Okay. All right, one more. Nine of Wands. And underneath is Queen of Wands. So, now the Queen of Wands, for some of you, it's pointing to someone that you will actually be dealing with this week who might be a little bit excitable and excited and, woohoo, everything's great, but yet they can grate on your nerves a little bit in some ways. So some of you will be facing the Queen of Swords, Queen of Wands in your life. And others, that energy will pervade of, having more creativity and just sitting more in that and having that more matured in your life. And the Nine of Wands, to me, he's walked out it, even though the Nine of Wands is a lot of stress and strain. The guy has actually been in a battle to the point that he is wounded and needs to go to the the Four of Swords and the healing. But on his way there, on his way to healing, he has to come out of his fortress. So many times we want to stay inside this fortress because we think that it's going to protect us. But it's just this, it's really quite flimsy if you look at it. I mean, it could be knocked over quite easily. And many times what we find is, as we're going through our lives, we come to a situation where we can make a choice of either being defensive and standing up for what we believe and what we hold as true above everything else, and hide away behind it, hide our vulnerability, hide our shame, hide our discomfort, and hide behind that defensiveness. But that actually doesn't defend us. It just keeps us from others. It keeps us from the life that we could be living. And so when you feel defensive, if you let your defenses fall and you come to people with compassion. And so that's what he's done. He said, you know what? I'm done fighting. I'm done with this. I am ready to walk out into the light of day, into my true self. Be vulnerable, be who I am, and really who I am meant to be. And when we have vulnerability and authenticity in our lives, and it can be really hard, and it can be really scary, but all of courage has a little bit of scariness in it. So I think this is beautiful. We started with the 10 of Wands and ended with the 9 of Wands. So there's a lot of passion this week in your life, coming into your life. A lot of passion, creativity, direction. You know, some things won't be as easy as you'd like them to be. You know, a little bit more stressful and straining that you sometimes have to deal with. But that's okay. You know, walk forward into the light. Let down your guard, because you are protected. You know, the divine, the angels, you know, the source of all things, whoever you talk about in your life, you know, is there and ready to be that guide and protection for you, so that you can be vulnerable and open, and at the same time, you know, create the boundaries that you need in your life, because we don't need to put up a big, huge castle wall, you know, but at the same time, we do have the boundary of who we are and who we're meant to be. So thank you so much for coming to the reading today. Let us go into the love card and the angel message card. All right, so I love this Whispers of Love, because it doesn't just look at like, oh, he loves me not, he loves me not. But it's more like, what kind of relationship advice. So as I look at this, why don't, in your mind, think of a relationship, something positive. You know, it could be a positive one, a negative one, just some relationship that you'd have that you would like a little advice toward that. Ooh, wow, I think I've only seen this one other time. 17, which is 8, which is the infinity symbol on its side. So it has like a ever-flowing feeling to it. Have patience. Love is patient and kind always. And I'm thinking of the flower and how the flower has to grow. And there's so often in my life, I find that I struggle with patience. Like, on the one hand, people will say that I'm the most patient person that they know, because if my kids get upset, I don't get flustered, or if they make a mess, I don't get flustered. You know, the dog makes does whatever, I don't get, you know, so I don't get flustered or upset. I have a very calm inner peace, which is very much like kind of this this flower coming out from the pond. But at the same time, I don't want things to have to grow. I just want them to be already made and there. I don't want to grow. I just want to already be. But then what's the whole point of being here, you know, if we aren't doing some growing? So no matter when we get there, we're still not there. There's still somewhere to be. And so that is patience, you know, no matter what's happening in our lives, to feel that patience. Oh my goodness. Do you see all the waterfalls? So where I grew up in Washington State, and you're driving down the road, that's what you see. You see these beautiful vistas, but they're covered with trees, but there's these waterfalls just coming down. The water energy is so strong in that card. Okay, have patience. Work on being more patient. If you lack patience with others, remember that they are human and different from you. If your impatience has to do with an outcome, know your prayers are being answered. Have a little more patience. I can take that one. Okay, you might be in a tense situation that is beyond your control. Be aware of the thoughts that precede any talk. All things arrange in their perfect time. Try to distract yourself while you are waiting for things to come to fruition. Engage in an activity that will occupy your time. Oh, that's interesting. I remember that there was a time in my life when I was doing a lot of waiting, and I was with a person who smoked, and I didn't, and it took him 7 minutes to smoke a cigarette. I checked. And so I would get to wait 7 minutes every time we was ready to go. Oh, we're ready to go. Oh, no, I have to smoke first. So there's learning patience. And so I enjoyed playing phone games. And so I would play things like Candy Crush and stuff during those 7 minutes. So here it's saying engaging in an activity that will occupy your time. I don't know if that was the best activity, but that's what I chose. The time will magically pass while you are otherwise engrossed. Look for ways to be patient. Okay, so I want to see if it says anything about the waterfalls. It says this may indicate an arrival from various points and not one singular event. So part of patience is that everything won't be clear at the beginning, that several things may have to come together before you really know what's going on. And then let's take a look at the angel message. Okay, so 2 cards. Peace. Peace comes from remembering that only love is real. I like this one. And indigo and crystal children. You have a bond with children. In particular, you can help children who are sensitive. So it's Chamuel and Metatron. You know, it's interesting because that love card was a child. And then this, you know, this is a child here as well. So I feel that in some ways you're being drawn to children this week. And helping children in some ways could be helping them, especially right now. A lot of children need our help with the education being off, their food, not all the children having food. You know, just because the holidays are over doesn't mean there isn't still a lot of need in our country, you know, going forward. And then this peace, peace kind of has to do with patience. So as we learn patience, we're able to gather in more peace. And it's saying that Peace comes from knowing that love is the only truly real thing in our lives. And that love coming into our hearts will help to bring us peace and help to bring us patience. So it's all kind of combined together. So thank you for coming to this video. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. And I am going to have an extended, so the link is below for that. And you can either join it on Vimeo, or you can become a member on Patreon. And in the membership on Patreon, you can see all of the extendeds for the whole month. So if you do Patreon, start at the beginning of January, so you don't pay for December and January. Anyway, so nice to have you guys here for this reading. And if you feel this has resonated with you, please subscribe to the channel, like it, share it with your friends, whether they're air signs or not. If it's a message that you feel will be of encouragement to them at this time. And if you are so inclined, I'll see you at the extended. The link is below.